Hαίrε, and welcome. Today we are in John chapter 2, verse 11, finishing off the very first paragraph of this chapter. Let's go ahead and get started. Here is our rubric, everything we're looking for as we go through this passage. And now the Greek. Meta tuto katebe is kapharnaum autos kai he meter autu kai hoi adelphoi kai hoi mathetai autu kai eke amenan u polas hemeros. Pretty simple sentence. Very first thing that we find is a preposition, so I'm going to put a bracket right there, parent right there, and ignore it. Here's a verb, katebe. Gosh, I got those vowels mixed up. Katebe, there we go. This one is a little bit more difficult to find out about. Our only clue is that we've got an epsilon right there, rather than the alpha we would expect with this prefix. So we know that this has to be a past tense. Otherwise, we'd have to go to a dictionary to figure out what this is, unless you have it memorized, which I don't. Mostly. This is from bino, or kata bino, katabeso, katabane, I believe, is the third principal part. So this is going to be a third person singular aorist. And it is going to be active and indicative of this highly annoying verb. I believe in the plurals, this eta would actually turn into an alpha. So bane, base, bay, bomben, bate, bason? I don't remember the last one. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen. Anyway, this means to go or climb down. Taking a look ahead, autos with an omicron sigma there, that's going to be our subject. Nominative, singular, masculines before chi. However, we've got another chi, so that might not be introducing another clause. We'll have to wait for a bit to figure out exactly whether or not this is part of the first clause or part of this clause. But we do know masculine, so Jesus as our subject, that's going to be the referent of autos. He climbed down or went down. Either one of those could be an option. Though if you know the topography, then you'd probably be able to point out, well, it's clearly this one over here. Well, clearly this one over that one. Probably went rather than climbed. Moving back to the beginning, meta tuto. Tuto has to be the object of this preposition. Because we've got a verb right there. Can't go any farther than that. A verb can't be inside a prepositional phrase, legally. Tuto here is either nominative or accusative singular. Since meta doesn't take the nominative, it has to be accusative singular neuter. And since this is accusative, that means that meta is going to have a temporal meaning. You don't need those C's. After this, he climbed down, or he went down. Eis kapharnaum. Eis is another prepositional phrase. It's going to take the accusative case, though Capernaum here does not decline, since ending in the mu. So I'm not going to put anything above that, but we should know that it's just showing motion, primarily because of this verb. Into Capernaum. First time I tried to write this down a couple days ago. Got it completely wrong, the spelling. Sometimes I don't understand how they come from their Greek spelling. Oh well. Now we can figure out whether autos belongs in this clause or in this clause. Autos, of course, masculine. He, and it's going to be emphatic because we don't need that. We've already got Jesus beforehand. He's been the subject all the way up to this point, except for them, but they're plural. So sticking this in there isn't really necessary, so probably emphatic. But moving on, and he meter, he, so nominative singular feminine. Could be another subject there. Autu, his, kai, and hoi adelphoi, hoi, nominative plural masculine. Kai and hoi mathetai, exact same thing we had beforehand. Autu, his again. Oh, capitalize. My gosh. Chi, another and. So there's all of that. So we have the kai here. It could either be connecting autos to hemeter and the rest of this, which is how Greek does like to do things, or it could be the separation between this clause and this clause. I would expect the subject to appear at the beginning of the clause, even though this is written by a Jewish author, which means it should be up here if it's meant to be part of this clause. But it's not, it's at the end, right next to, well, nothing, except everything right here. So what we want to do then is we want to try it out both ways. After this, he himself climbed down, or went down into Capernaum. It's going to be went. Just saved myself some time there. And the mother, his mother, and brothers and sisters is a possible meaning of this word, though it's not clear that they are there also, so hence the parentheses. And the disciples, his, and. That really wasn't trying it both ways, was it? Oops. He himself, and his mother, and his brothers, and his disciples, emainan. Or his mother, and his brothers, and his disciples, emainan. And honestly, it could go either way. But since this is at the end, or this is right here, rather than right here, I'm more tempted to take it with the second clause than with the first clause. So I'm going to pretend, at least for the moment, that there is a comma right there. And treat this as part of this one. He himself. Capitalizing. Gosh, terrible at it. A K, showing its location there. Emainan alpha nu, with augment right there. Third person plural aorist, clearly. Active and indicative. This means remained. And the verb's not really helping us with this one. It's just plural, so all of these, of course, are its subject. Oh well. Ou polos hemeros. Ou is clearly a negative. It could be going with remained, but then I would expect it to actually be over here after a K. Then I would put it before the verb, and that's normally where we would find negatives when they're modifying verbs. We've got polos hemeros, and this doesn't want to take a direct object, so we have to ask ourselves, why are these two clearly together accusative? What purpose? Don't need the C's. Gosh. Plural. Why are they accusative? Why do we want an accusative here? And the answer to that is time. This is going to tell us accusative of extent of time. Not for many days, period. So then what this should say is, and they remained there not for many days, or for not many days. The other way of translating it, of course, would be, and they did not remain there for many days. And frankly, either way works. I think actually the second way sounds better. So that's how you should probably go with it. There we go. We've gone through everything. We still have the complete failure on my part to figure out where that thing belongs. Let's take a look at it in its own context. After this, he, capitalized, went down into Capernaum, imagined comma, and he himself and his mother and brothers and his disciples, and there remained not for many days. Okay, now all of the ands in there may have sounded a little bit weird for English. I'm going to pause and deal with this right now, but that's because English doesn't operate the same way. The way that Greek and Latin work with conjunctions like this is there are a couple different ways of doing it. Either zero conjunctions, and I don't think I've seen that very often, where you just list. It would be he himself, his mother, his brothers, his disciples remained. That would be pretty unusual. The other way of doing it is just one conjunction. He himself and his mother, brothers, disciples remained there. Or the more common way to do it is you have one conjunction for each party involved. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 conjunctions 4 different named subjects. So that would be probably the strongest argument for this being part of this clause. There we go. That's the context right there. I hope I didn't muddy it up too much. Take a look at from verse 1. And on the 3rd day, wedding happened in Cana of Galilee. And Jesus' mother, the mother of Jesus, was there. But the Jesus also was invited, and his disciples, into the wedding. And since wine gave out, the mother of the Jesus says to him, "They do not have wine." And he says to her, the Jesus, "What to me and to you, woman? The hour of me is not yet come." The mother of him says to the helpers, "Whatever he says to you all, do." But there were 6 stone water jars standing, 2, that is, for the purpose of the purification of the Jews, holding each 2 or 3 measures. The Jesus says to them, "Fill the water jars with water, and they filled them to the brim. And he says to them, "Draw now and carry to Toastmaster," Headmaster, whichever one you want. And they carried. Why is it not cooperating? And just as the master of the feast tasted the water, having become wine, and he did not know from where it is, but the servants or the helpers knew, those having drawn out the water. The master of the feast calls the groom, and he says to him, "Every man sets first the good wine, and when they are inebriated, the inferior. You have kept the good wine until now." The Jesus did this beginning of the signs in Cana of the Galilee, and he revealed the glory of him. And his disciples believed into him. After this, he went down into Capernaum, imagine comma, he himself and his mother and the brothers, possibly also the sisters, and his disciples remained there for not many days. And there we go. That's the entire context of this paragraph. I hope taking a look at this has not been thoroughly confusing, but instead helpful. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you next week, if there is a video next week. My schedule's getting really tight here. I'm sorry. This Friday, again, I hope this Friday, I'll have the comparison video to take a look at this page in the Latin compared to the Greek, and we'll tie off this paragraph once and for all and figure out how well the Latin did. I think it's been doing pretty good. I'll have to ask myself later. Again, thank you for joining me, and farewell.
Not asleep yet? That's okay. I've got tons of other equally sleep-inducing videos for you to watch. Check them out.